folks. I'm getting myself logged on here. I'm really glad that you guys can join us for another episode of Ask Evelyn on Wednesdays. My co-host Pat just joined us. It's really good to see all of you guys that could join us today. I hope your Wednesday is going pretty well. It's a little bit rainy and sunny here, so it's a little bit of both, which is kind of nice. So, hey Pat.
Hello, hello. How's it going?
It's going good. How are you?
Good.
Awesome. Well, here we go. It is episode 10. Thank you guys for joining us for Ask Evelyn, where we answer your questions about garbage, recycling, composting, other trashy topics. Like I said, I can't believe we're in double digits now, Pat.
I know. It just keeps going. Got to keep it going.
Just keeps getting better and better, right?
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
We'll see. Well, those of you that are watching, you can tell us how we're doing. So we
Yeah.
really appreciate the feedback and all of your questions. That's super awesome. You're the reason that we do it. We want to make sure that we get the information out there, and you guys keep us going, really. So definitely send us some information. So for those of you who don't know me or my co-host, I'm Becca Fong. I'm the Residential Solid Waste Outreach Program Manager for Seattle Public Utilities. And my co-host is...
Hi, I'm Pat Kaufman. I'm the Commercial Recycling and Composting Program Manager for Seattle Public Utilities. Help businesses recycle and compost all their materials. So it's great. Good to be here.
Yeah. All right. Well, we've got a really good show for you guys today. And as always, I kind of said this at the top, but this show is really run by you guys and your questions and your desire for knowledge and figuring out how to, live your best waste reduction life. So if you've got questions, you can either put them in the comments. We will try to address them as they come through. If we don't get to you, we'll try to get back to you either in the comments after the show. So definitely hang in there and keep the comments coming. You can also send us questions about this show or future shows in any of our social feeds. So Instagram, of course, that you're seeing us on now, Facebook, Twitter, or,
YouTube.
The namesake.
You could actually watch all of our previous shows on YouTube as well.
That's true.
Yeah.
And the namesake of our show, you can send us questions on to askevelyn@seattle.gov. So
That's right.
All right. So we got two really good questions for you guys. And our first question is about sustainable flowers. Flowers are blooming. People are starting to give them for celebration. So we've got a really good question about that. And then we also have a question about what to do with all that paperwork that we're dredging up at our houses. So Pat, do you want to take us away with question one?
I do. I've got question one teed up here. So question one, Dear Evelyn, I recently got a beautiful bouquet of flowers from a friend. It was beautifully arranged, and it was just what I needed to brighten my days. I've always loved having flowers around, and now, more than ever, I realize that they are more important to me than I had thought. My question for you is, what do I do with the foam stuff that it's arranged within? The green stuff that keeps all the flowers so beautifully arranged? Can I put it in the compost with the rest of the arrangement? And that's from Myra. Sorry, Myra, no. Or I should say thank you, Myra, for asking this question, because it's a common question we get.
Definitely.
It's green, it's foam, it crumbles in your hands. It seems so natural almost. Maybe
it's
like
with flowers.
Right. But it's a poly product. It's a plastic product. It's not recyclable. It's not compostable. It is garbage. That's not just our program. That's any program. That's not good for backyard composting. It's not good for anything else. Reuse, I suppose. You could reuse it for a future flower arrangement. But essentially, it's kind of a one and done or single use, or maybe, like I say, a couple use option. Yeah.
Yeah, that stuff is kind of crazy. It's like this weird textured foam that kind of crumbles in your hand.
Yeah.
I know microplastics has been a really big topic for just in the industry and just in general, how plastics break down into tiny, tiny little pieces. And you can physically see that when you take a floral foam block and crumble it in your hands, which is why we don't want it in the compost at all, because it'll just break down to all those tiny pieces. So
yeah, we really want it. We don't want it in the natural environment. It is it's a green little polymer particulate, and it should not be in our streams and waterways. It shouldn't be in our farmlands and soils and things. It's not really inert. It's a plastic, so we want it in the landfill. Actually in a bag, tied off if you can. I mean, the way we should all manage our garbage, actually, before we take it to the curb. Um, it's a plastic foam that, like I said, it is reusable, but it's not compostable or recyclable. And there is one company out there that is marketing a version of it that is biodegradable. And I think we'll
Ugh.
take a moment to talk about that because,
Biodegradable.
right. Well, the term biodegradable is a term that we really don't like. We don't like the term. Um, there's compostable, which is an ASTM standard, a kind of a laboratory test standard. Like the thing will break down. It's from plants. It returns to soil. Then there's recyclable, which has its kind of a technical recycle system. And
Right.
then there's garbage. But biodegradable, it's almost like a marketing term for
Oh,
what we call,
totally.
greenwashing, like making
Yeah.
something seem like it's a plus in some way. And it's just, I mean, everything around us, everything you're looking at right now is biodegradable. Under
Right.
under certain conditions, over a certain amount of time, it will
Right.
biodegrade.
Right.
It's on the earth, so it will biodegrade. Everything degrades. But so, um, even statements from companies that say our product will biodegrade to 25% its original size in an organic landfill or something like that. These are all sort of like,
Oh,
well, I guess one can say that, but it has no value. It has no intrinsic kind of positive value in the system. We can either work our materials, reuse is best, of course, where you're not trying to run a material through a system, you just reuse it. But the next options are, the technical system of recycling and then the natural organic system of composting. So, you really want to focus on products, focus on materials that can fit into those two categories and not that yucky biodegradable version. And for flowers, there's some florists out there who don't use the foam. There are no foam florists out there who choose to use sustainable. They use there are wire mesh materials, or there's the frog item. I don't know if you've heard that term, where
no.
it's a bunch of spikes that stick
Oh,
up.
yeah, yeah,
It's kind of
yeah.
an old, it's kind of an
Yeah,
antique
totally. It's
thing.
very old
Used to be
school.
more
Yeah.
of a dish type display.
Yeah.
So there, it's a series of spikes on a plate, and it provides a way for the stems
Those are cool.
to be stood up and supported.
Yeah.
Yeah. So different techniques.
All right. So I mean, you're from the commercial sector. It's like if I'm ordering an arrangement that I want to send to somebody, what are some kind of good practices? It sounds like ask for foam-free arrangements,
Yeah,
right? So
absolutely. Yeah,
are there
there's a
any,
great
are
there's
there some other kind of good kind of like tips to think of if I want to send somebody flowers? Because I love flowers. I
Oh,
mean, they
local.
just,
Yeah, probably the biggest, one of the best, I think, is the local, right? You hear about the flowers that are flown in each day from far-flung places around the world where they're beautiful. They're naturally native flowers from a jungle or from some
right.
place. And, I mean, they're cool, they're different, but one can, per, you know, can provide to their friend or family, whatever, a beautiful arrangement with local flowers. Flowers from the Northwest, flowers that are grown here by our local farms and suppliers. And so ask those questions. Ask for the natural bouquet. Ask for the locally grown flower bouquets. Those are probably good ideas.
Okay. So cool. So skip the phone.
Yeah.
Local, like I know that, a lot of our hmong farmers down at Pike Place Market, they are just, a huge fixture, I feel like, culturally
They
for
are.
the area. They
Mm-hmm.
grow great bouquets, and I feel like local flowers is really similar to local produce and
Mm-hmm.
local food, is that it just travels not as far, right? So it
Yeah.
goes literally from the field to your table in a beautiful arrangement of
Right.
space, and that's going to last a lot longer, which is
Right.
awesome, right? Like that's the whole goal, right? To have that beautiful arrangement lasting longer. So
Absolutely.
that's pretty cool. And we've got kind of a cool thing that's coming up on Monday that's going on. So Toby Nelson, who's up on Whidbey, who
Sure.
does
Mm-hmm.
sustainable floral design, she's going to have Pat on first, and I'm going to be kind of watching in the comment section. She has an
That's
Instagram live
great.
show that happens Monday at 10 o'clock. And you can find that at Sustainable Floral Design on Instagram. And you
Okay.
can also look for her under Sustainable Floral Design with Toby Nelson. So Monday, 10 a.m., we'll be talking a whole bunch of flowers. So
That's right. Ask Evelyn is branching out into the floral department.
I know, right?
Really like that.
Evelyn's all about flowers. She's got them in her
That's right.
jaunty hat.
She
Like that's
does.
what it's all about,
That's
right?
right.
Totally. All
Well, that's
right.
great.
So question 2, let me take us there real quick, folks. So this one, I'm really feeling this question comes
Yeah.
to us from Jamie. And
Right.
it says, Dear Evelyn, I have a question about what to do with the piles of old paperwork that I've uncovered during this time in quarantine. There's an embarrassing large amount of it. It's a mixture of old bills, bank statements, insurance policies, and just random stuff. Can
Mm-hmm.
I put it all in the recycle? I shredded all the stuff with the personal information on
Good.
it. Does that go in the recycling too? It's
Mm-hmm.
an awesome question, Jamie. And I have to say, I think that a lot of us out there have been going through piles of paperwork. I personally, I will spare you guys the visual. Literally, I had to start using my laundry baskets to put the old paperwork in. I found some stuff from 1999, which I think it's always great to shred, to look through your paperwork because a lot of it has sensitive information on it. And
Yeah.
while it's generally secure, I think that a best practice is to take anything that's got bank accounts, social security numbers, any kind of personal information and shred that. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's always a good practice because, the material when it leaves your house, it generally stays in the truck and goes to the facility, but just to be 100% sure. And I found out that in 1999, they used to put your whole bank account number on your bank statement. So check those.
Yeah, at 99, Becca is way past the 7-year retention schedule. I think you're good to let go.
I know, but it's hard, and I haven't had a lot of time, and
Uh,
maybe I just like to keep stuff a lot.
right, right, right.
Um, and I think that all of that can go in the recycling,
Yeah,
right? Like, so if you go through your paperwork, I got a couple of things. So the little plastic envelopes, some of
yeah.
you old school recyclers might remember we used to ask you to pull these off. These can just go straight into the recycle bin, no problem.
Right.
The process that the paper recyclers use can separate that plastic out. Similarly with staples,
Mm-hmm.
those can stay on there. You don't need to
Mm-hmm.
pull those. Those can go straight into the recycle bin.
But the
Uh,
big binder clips, you want to pull those off. You need those big
yes,
fat black binder clips those are kind of heavier metal. You got to think about the gauge of the metal in a staple. It's not much. It's not a big deal. It gets, shredded up and magneted out or disintegrates or whatever. It filters out through the process. But bigger pieces of metal, those ones with the two holes, the big folding thing, if
oh,
you're really a
that is old school.
banker, if you're a total banker and you do that, then you might have those. Those shouldn't go in. And then spirals too. Spirals are not a popular item in the recycling system.
Right.
It's easy to I have one right here. Right? You can, if you're ready to go, you just start tearing at it. You just tear things out, and next thing you know, it's just a spiral, and you throw that
Totally.
away.
And it's kind of a cathartic process as well.
Yeah.
I think with the shredded material, we do not ask that you put shredded material like this is too small to go into
Right.
your recycle bin. It's got really short fibers, so it's not a high value. It usually gets lost in the sorting. What you can do with this is you can put it in your compost cart, which is
Mm-hmm.
great. But if you're going to shred it, you got to make sure that you take the staples out and you got to take the plastic envelopes out because in compost, no plastic, no metal. You want to make sure all that stuff is missing.
That's right.
So,
It
for
becomes
me,
more. It's a bit more of a chore, but
yeah,
it's good. You don't want this stuff coming back into the garden after the finished compost
right.
because the plastic windows that won't go away. It may disintegrate into smaller bits, but that plastic will still be in there. So really, just those documents that have your personal information. Usually, those ones are not going to have windows on them and such. So it's usually a pretty good. You can also just tear off the parts, depending on how much you have to process. How much time you have. You can make your pile of shredding much smaller. You don't have to shred everything that comes in the mail,
That's
every
true.
statement and every, whatever. But whatever, everybody has their own sort of like personal privacy kind of happy zone. And so,
It's true. I mean, the lesson that I learned is that the fact that I still got paperwork from 1999 means I need to up my game a little bit more because, I mean, that's like over 20 years old. That's ridiculous. Like, why do I still have that paperwork? But definitely. So if you have all that paperwork that I'm sure some of you out there have, like me, I'm sure I'm not the only one. Go ahead. You can put all of that into the recycling, large pieces of metal like binder clips, spiral notebooks, those kind of crazy metal tabs at the top. Those have to come out. Other than that, they can all go in to the recycle. Shredded paper, just make sure that you pull the plastic and the metal out before you shred it. And then that can go in your compost, not in the recycling. So,
right.
so we'll see. I still have 2 laundry baskets full of stuff to go through. It's a process. Oh my
Well,
gosh.
sometimes there's those great, like, they haven't had them recently, of course, with, coronavirus and COVID-19 things. We're not doing a lot of, events where people are gathering together, but there often are neighborhood events where there's the waste-free events that SPU
Yep.
manages with our haulers. There's also like some of the realtors in the area or insurance agencies, they'll have like shred events and things. Some schools will do it. So there's different opportunities to take larger quantities of shred and have them shredded, in a more industrial process.
Totally. I mean, that's a really good reminder. Our collection events got canceled for the spring because of COVID-19, but we're looking to reschedule those in the fall. So if you go to if you type in Seattle Public Utilities Beyond the Cart, you will
Mm-hmm.
see a list of events. We also list our compost giveaway events, which have also been deferred for the fall, but we will always have a shred truck.
Right.
So if you want to bring sensitive documents to us there, that's another option.
That's
Good
great.
reminder, Pat. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for that. All right, we want to do a really quick check-in on our weekly waste challenge.
Oh,
So
yes.
let's see. So here we go. So, every week we pick a new tip or trick to try out because, everybody can get better, right? Our
Yeah.
whole shtick is to get people to try new behaviors, us included, right? Because
Right.
changing behaviors is hard. So we always pick something new, a weekly waste challenge, and we report back on how we did. So last week was diving into online reuse and sharing. So different communities online. We talk a lot about buy nothing groups. We talk about Craigslist. We talk about um, Facebook groups. We talk
Yeah.
about
Next door.
Nextdoor. Thanks, Pat.
There's some are for sale, some are for free. There's different options.
Right. But again, it's kind of that high level of reuse and
Yeah.
looking to see what's available instead of buying new. So our challenge was to find something that we needed either to get rid of or to procure over the last week using kind of the online sharing economy. So Pat, you want to go first? What do you got?
Sure. So I did a little gutter and downspout work on the garage last year, and I had been going to Ballard Reuse, one of the reusable building materials supply businesses, last year, and I gathered more than I needed, and that's kind of how I do things sometimes. So I had a whole downspout and a whole section of gutter that was a plastic gutter one I didn't end up using. I ended up going with the aluminum gutters, but so I just had it along the side of the garage. We're actually tidying up a bit during this time at home. And so I pulled it out. It was in the driveway, on the edge of the driveway. And using Craigslist, using the free button on Craigslist, I just said, hey, here's the picture of the things that are available. It's a downspout and a gutter. They're on the side of my driveway. This is my address. And lo and behold, they just disappeared one day. And so it was great.
That's awesome. And I
Yeah.
know that it's kind of a struggle. You're a big fan of the free button
I'm a
on
big fan of the free button. So this wasn't a new thing for me at all. This is a safe space for me. I've been in this place and this space many times. So I kind of half measured this one this week. I didn't really try anything new, but yeah. So success though. I just want to shout out. It's a great option.
Totally. Well, and I think, new behaviors, the key to it is keeping them up, right? So, I mean, even though it wasn't a brand new space for you to be in, and the fact, Pat, I'm very proud of you, you didn't manage to procure anything while you were posting.
It was hard because I was in the city. I was looking and I almost picked up another barbecue, but I didn't.
I know, right? There's so much great stuff.
But you're in the market for a bicycle, right?
So yeah, so my little one, who those of you who have watched Ask Evelyn have seen him make a special guest appearance from time to time because I am home
That's
with
right.
my kids. He is ready to graduate to a pedal bike. So he's been on a strider bike for a long time, and man, he is so ready. He's so ready for a pedal bike. And he's little, he's 4, and so I didn't want to go and buy a new bike. And so I put the word out. I used the in search of function on a local neighborhood group on Facebook, and I said, hey, I'm looking for a 12-inch pedal bike. Does anybody have anything? And I got a message back that said, hey, there's a consignment store in the neighborhood. They're open for appointment only, but they probably have some good stuff, so I want to check it out. So I gave them a call, and they said, yeah, we've got, two 12-inch pedal bikes for you to come and try. And so I set up an appointment with them, and we did a social distance. We tried it out outside.
Oh,
Great.
okay.
We had an appointment. I was really proud. My little one, he wore his mask and he kept his distance. He was so stoked to get a big kid bike. And it was great. We found one that fit us perfectly. It wasn't the one we originally went to look at, but he was off and running like immediately. He took it right from the store, rode it right down the street, and we were ready to take it home. And it was really nice that we got to buy used. It was a super high quality bike. We got to support a local business, and we got to meet the business owners and his family. And they said, thank you so much for coming to support us during this time. It's been really hard not to have our shop open, but it's been great that we were able to connect with you. And
That's great.
it was awesome. It was really great. And actually, I had brought a couple of things down there with them, with me to the shop. And I said, hey, are you picking up other stuff? And he said, yeah, they're a sports store.
Right.
And, he's like, if you've got some really good stuff, bring it on down and we'll consign it for you and kind of keep the cycle going. So,
Yeah, you did do something new. Good job.
yeah, it was great. It was really good. I feel really good about that. And, we tend to look for stuff used first, especially with kids. They grow out of stuff really
Yeah.
fast and they tend not
Hmm.
to wear it out,
Hmm.
especially if it's really well made, which we talk a lot about making stuff last a little
Hmm.
longer on this show and just in general. And
Right.
it was awesome. It was really great. We've stayed away from stores and, we've just been trying
Right.
to keep it low key and stay home, but it was great to be able to give him this opportunity to really take outside time to the next level, which he totally needs.
Oh,
Oh
good.
my
Yeah.
goodness.
Excellent.
So yeah, so I think that was great. It was super fun. And Pat, I am super proud of you for not getting
Ah,
something on the free space.
yes. Thumbs up to that.
I
I'll be
mean,
back though. I'll be returning
I
soon
hear you. I
for
mean,
more
this
for
is
more
the person who's
browsing.
this is the person who still has stuff from 1999 at her house. So,
Yeah.
we all know. So, our next week's challenge
Yeah.
is, since a lot of people are out in the garden, I know that Pat, you've got a pretty big garden. I've got one as
Hmm.
well.
Hmm.
Our next weekly waste challenge is to try out a behavior that is an alternative to
Right.
pesticides, really kind of
Right.
looking at natural lawn care.
Hmm.
So alternatives to pesticides or chemicals in the garden. So we'll report back. I've definitely been seeing, oh my God, the slugs at my house.
Yeah.
Off the charts.
There's a lot of slugs right now. They're having a good time out there. So
Oh my
that's
God.
good.
And there's nothing more disappointing than picking up a beautiful ruby red juicy strawberry with a giant slug still in it
Yeah.
that
I
is
hear
eating
you.
its way through it. It is just like disappointing. So I will do some research and I'll try a couple things out and we'll report back next week.
Okay. I will too. I'm going to figure it out.
All right. So thank you guys all for joining us. It's been really awesome to see you guys kind of log on and we see your names in the comments. Thank you for joining us.
I have one more thing to bring up, Becca, and that
Absolutely.
is it's Where Does It Go Wednesday? It always
Thank you.
coincides with our show. And today, the Where Does It Go Wednesday question, I think from the SPU handle on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and all those great places, is about pet waste, right? Isn't it?
Yes, it
Yes.
is. That we get a lot of questions about pet waste. And, primarily it's like, especially with the advent of compostable dog bags, pet waste goes in the garbage. Essentially anything that has any, pet fluids
Right.
or waste products on it, all of it goes in the trash. Bag it up and put it in the trash. Cat litter, hamster bedding, rabbit
Yeah,
bedding.
that's the question that comes up most often, I think, is the bedding question. You
Yes.
have a hamster or whatever you have, and it's in this little shaved wood kind of bedding, and the poo is on one side, and then there's just bedding over here. Can I put that in the compost? And we just say no. We just, the thing about these programs is, and these systems, we can't, like, we have to be very clear and direct with our messaging. And so any chance of the pathogens that might be from an animal's waste, it just can't be in our compost system. That's not where we want it. So you bag it up and you put it in the garbage, and that's just the way it goes.
Totally. Yeah. So everything with pet waste
Yeah.
all goes in the garbage. Bag it
I
and trash
mean,
it.
yeah, if you live on a farm or whatever, like let me double back up a step here. Our chickens at home, I don't put that, we compost that. We have a separate corner in the backyard behind the garage where we put all the chicken bedding and chicken manure. And it's, over time, over many months, it just neutralizes and becomes good compost. So one could do that, but you just have to be careful and thoughtful and kind of be, know what you're doing. And
Totally.
you establish that spot and you work in some other materials like leaves or grass clippings or something else to kind of give it the ability to break down naturally, safely, and not attract other pests and such. So bedding can be managed in a non-landfill way, but you got to do it yourself on your property with your own kind of compost pile.
Right. And it
Yeah.
seems like for chickens, it's probably a little bit easier than maybe like with dog or cat waste.
Yeah.
That's not something that you want to
Yeah.
do.
Although chicken poo is definitely right up there in that odor zone. I mean, it's nothing fancy.
Yeah,
It's
you better be on your game,
Yeah,
right?
you
better
do.
be on your game.
But you're right. Pet waste in this. I was just thinking like rabbits or hamsters or something like
Totally.
that, where it's a little more, you know, agra.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't know what the word would be, but yeah, dogs and cats, they're more like domestic human waste type. Anyway, enough about that. The point is, all this material does go in the landfill,
It
and it
does.
needs to be bagged up.
Totally.
Okay,
Pet waste, bag it and trash it, folks.
good enough.
All right. So we wanted to thank you guys for joining us, and hopefully you will join us as well on Toby's show on
Oh yeah,
Instagram at Sustainable Floral Design next Monday at 10
right,
a.m.
right.
It's always really fun. I am not super well versed in the floral world, but Pat, you definitely are more with kind of the commercial sector. So I'm super excited to see your conversation. It's, fantastic. I
Oh
feel like
yeah,
our letter writer who was talking about how finding small things that are beautiful in our world and the small things to be thankful for are really helpful. These are hard times, and I would like to acknowledge that life is hard for so many reasons right now.
yep,
And finding those little things is really great, and how we can support each other, whether it's sustainable businesses or just your friends and your neighbors.
yeah.
So
I'm
find
looking
those.
forward to that.
Yeah,
Toby's great. Toby, we'll delve deep into the floral industry, all the little plastics and wrappers and sleeves, and there's a lot to it. So it'll be a good conversation. Looking forward to that. But yes,
cool.
thank you for bringing that up. I agree. Um, these are good times to be connected and together and to talk about all of the world we share together.
Definitely. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. That was another episode 10. Ask Evelyn.
Good.
Remember to send us your questions. So you can either send it to our various social handles, or old school, ask Evelyn at seattle.gov. Remember, tell at least one friend about us, because, we want to just get the word out there, and we love to talk to more people. That's why we do it. We want to hear from you. We want to spread the word, and, we just want to help make this world just a little bit less wasteful. So we'll see you next Wednesday at
All right.
11:30 right here for more trash talk. I hope you guys find this as useful advice from your utility. And I'm Becca Fong. Life simpler with less stuff.
Yeah. And I'm Pat, Pat Recycles, and remember to recycle right.
All right. Take care,
Thanks.
you guys.
Bye.
Bye.